All right, and that's it for the show. We're done. Thank you for joining us today. Vince Young, come get your Player of the Year trophy. Did I do it right?
It's time for free money!
No.
Free money!
I'm
My college
sorry
football picks
for
against the
anyone
spread.
sitting through
It
this.
is America's favorite segment.
That is false.
Back
Fake news.
in the saddle, baby. I just read it on Twitter. Actually, hold on.
We don't do fake news on this show.
here
I'm
is-
sorry for all his fake news
Here
today.
is a tweet. It just reads right now. Oh, that is very odd. It says, it's the return of America's favorite segment. Wow. Interesting.
Oh, did you schedule that tweet out?
There's no way to find that out. There's no way to track that.
He did.
Anyway.
He did.
Last week, as I mentioned off the top, now they're winning week 4 and 3. Now they're winning week 4 and 3. I am 28, 12, and 3 on the year. I am 16 games above 500.
You
Okay.
didn't count one of those weeks either. Did you? Did you end up counting that?
No, remember, I didn't because we ended up not having the show.
Well,
on
you said you
Thursday.
were thinking about counting it because you got most of them
Because it would have increased my
correct.
winning percentage.
But yeah, if you would have gotten them all wrong, there's no way in the world he would have counted those.
But we're not counting them regardless. I am hurting my own case here intentionally. I'm tamping down my betting expertise.
Oh, Daniel Agnew just commented that Final Thoughts is the best segment. Final Thoughts with Ashley
I didn't
Fickle
say
is
it was
the
the
best
best segment. I didn't say it was the best segment.
America's favorite is what he meant to put.
But that's not what he said.
But
No. Final Thoughts could be the best segment, but free money is America's favorite segment, and that's where we are. We've got 7 games this week, kicking off tonight. Ashley, what is our first game?
If we have to.
We do. It's in the contract.
Is it though? Louisiana Monroe at Texas State. Ishmael's favorite Bobcats, 8:15 p.m. tonight. Monroe favored by 3.
Yes. So this game at Bobcat Stadium down there in San Marcos. This is I would say an interesting test for Texas State because I think that this is a game that's right in their wheelhouse. I don't think that Monroe is a particularly great team. And the things that when you take a look at what they do particularly well, I don't think that their offense is pretty solid. They are a team that runs the ball pretty well, and that is going to be a problem for Texas State. They have got to make sure they step up and stop the run. They have an outstanding running back in Josh Johnson, who has already gone for 600 yards on the year, runs for about 120 per game. That's their big advantage. But here's the thing, okay? Monroe's defense stinks, okay? Stinks on ice. It's bad, and it's bad at everything. They're 117th in the nation in yards per pass allowed. They are 123rd in the nation in yards per rush allowed. They are a bad defense.
Less than ideal.
Texas State has got to do something offensively. They have to. They've got to get right offensively. If they have they've got to find something offensively. Now, the one thing I will say, Texas State coming off a bye week, right? Oh my God.
I didn't even mean to do that, but that's great because it messed up free money. That was the best accidental mistake in the world.
Texas State has got to get something going offensively. Coming off of a bye week, this is a game where I think if you're Texas State, you feel like you need to go and get this one, move to 2-0 in conference play. And you know what? I'll throw this out there. I'm going to take Texas State +3. And more importantly, I'm going to take Texas State to win outright. I think they win this game outright. I'm going to take Texas State -3 or +3, but I would certainly take a look at that money line, see what that money line's doing. I'm going to take Texas State +3. I think they win the game outright.
Our West African prince is cheering somewhere in the background.
I know he is.
You made his heart happy.
What's next, Ashley? Any big games?
Yeah, maybe. One of my, probably top 3 favorite games throughout the year, but it's number 6, Oklahoma, taking on Texas, number 11 at 11 a.m. Saturday for the Red River rivalry. OU favored by 10.5.
Yeah, so
it's a decent game,
it's pretty good. I would say. I would say it is an above average football game. I'm a fan of this. I'm a fan of this football game. 10.5's a lot in a game that traditionally has been pretty close. But I think that you can see what Vegas is looking at. which is, look, this offense for Oklahoma is ridiculous. They are ridiculous. They have to, if you are, this is going to sound crazy, but if you are Texas, you have to make Jalen Hurts beat you through the air. Now, Jalen Hurts is very capable of beating you through the air. I want to be very clear about that. But I think that what makes OU really dangerous is when they are able to run the ball and throw the ball. That balance makes them, when they are running the ball, their offense might be unstoppable. It's that good. So if you're Texas, you've got to make sure you stop the run. That is, I think, key number one. What I'm a little bit worried about, and a lot of what this comes down to, I want to say this. I think Texas is going to score. I think Texas is probably going to get 28 points, 30 points, 31 points in this game. The issue is, are they going to be able to hold Oklahoma under 40? That's a huge ask. And the question you have to ask yourself is, what secondary shows up? Does the secondary from the LSU game show up? Because if the secondary from the LSU game shows up, they're getting torched. They're getting run out of the barn. Okay? But if the secondary from last week against West Virginia shows up, they're right back in this game.
Especially that fourth quarter of the West Virginia game. That's where they took over.
Exactly right. I'm going to take Oklahoma. I'm going to go Oklahoma minus 10.5. I don't feel good about it. But I like Oklahoma minus 10.5. I worry that Oklahoma's offense is such a flamethrower right now. And I just think that while I think the Texas offense is going to get its, I don't know if they're going to be able to slow down Oklahoma enough. I'm going to take Oklahoma. I think something along the lines of 42-31. I'm going to take Oklahoma minus 10.5 in this one. What's next, Ashley?
Up next, we have another, just not
pretty decent game.
Not that good of a game. Number 1, Alabama coming down to College Station to take on number 24, Texas A&M. 2:30 p.m. Saturday. Bama favored on the road by 17. Yeah.
Look, the computer, or rather, the Vegas loves Alabama.
Always have. Always will.
Vegas loves Alabama, and even on the road, Vegas loves Alabama. And I mean, look. If you take a look at the if you take a look at the numbers, everything points to Alabama in this one. Everything. Alabama has a terrific rushing game, terrific running game. A&M's rushing game or running defense, fine, but the advantage would go to Oklahoma or go to Alabama. Alabama. The one thing that I think that Alabama may struggle with is that the one thing that A&M's pretty good is they make you earn it passing the ball down the field. But this is also one of the most efficient passing offenses in the nation. The other part of this is I worry about every time A&M has the ball.
Yeah, you never feel confident with it.
Because the Alabama defense, and especially the Alabama defensive line, I think that they're going to have a big advantage up front on the defensive line against this A&M offensive line, which, struggled against Arkansas, right? And out on a limb here, Alabama's defensive line is better than Arkansas's. I'm going to take Alabama in the 17. This strikes me as not only is it a really, really good, like the best team in the country coming to town. It's not just that, but I don't think A&M matches up well with them. That's the problem. Is that there are teams that are worse than A&M that I think match up better with Alabama. But the problem is that A&M matches up poorly with Alabama. And especially, by the way, they won't have Ronnie Elam, who I think might be their best defensive back. Yeah. And when you're going up against Tua, that is bad news. I like Alabama. I don't like saying this, but I like Alabama by minus 17. If A&M's going to keep this close, if A&M's going to win this game or keep this thing close, they got to come out there and they got to throw the first punch, and they got to come up with a big splash defensive play in the first quarter. Get that crowd fired up. Get that crowd rowdy.
And with so many of them last week got very upset, I don't know if you saw it, about the College Game Day crew saying, why do we hype up Kyle Field? Because sometimes they don't do near as good there. If they want to really go back on that and prove his
Yeah.
Twitter blew up. If they want to prove that Kyle Field really is the best home field advantage in college football, this is when you
Here's
do
an
it.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Like, let it loose. And that is the biggest advantage that A&M's going to have in here is Kyle. If Kyle gets rocking and they give them a reason to get rocking, then A&M's going to have a shot in this one. But for now, I like Alabama minus 17. What's next, Ashley?
Up next, we have more Big 12, at least with Baylor. Cincinnati. Whoa, no. You know what? That's wrong. That's supposed to be a Cincinnati logo.
It's okay.
So not
pretend
a Big 12.
pretend that's a Cincinnati logo.
There we go. Number 25, Cincinnati coming down to Houston. 2:30 p.m. on Saturday. Cincinnati favored by 7.5.
If you had asked me before I was typing these things out, hey, is Cincinnati? How's Cincinnati doing? I'd be like, oh, probably like 3-2. They've been great. They've been really, really solid. They're obviously ranked at number 25. I think that might be overcooking it just a little bit, but I think,
A&M is also ranked at 24.
But they're a pretty darn good team. The thing that really sets them apart is the fact that they have a pretty good defense. Their defense is pretty solid. They get after the quarterback. That is one thing that they do really well, is they get after the quarterback, and that is going to be a huge question mark here for Houston. They've got to protect Clayton Tune. He is not as mobile as D'Eriq King. I think D'Eriq King bailed them out a lot, but even with D'Eriq King back there, Houston's offense is 104th in sack rate. That is bad. Cincinnati gets after the quarterback. Offensively, Cincinnati is really nothing to write home about. It's okay, but what they do well is that they're just really efficient. They run the ball pretty well. They've got a solid running game led by Michael Warren and Tavion Thompson. They throw the ball pretty well with Desmond Ritter, their sophomore quarterback. They just do everything fine. But the things that they do is they make splash plays defensively, and then they force turnovers. That's the biggest thing. A big question in this one is another test for, is Houston for real? Like, what is Houston? Is Houston a team? Is Houston a lot closer to what we saw against Tulsa minus D'Eriq King? Because or Tulane rather. Because if that's the case, they're going to lose this game badly. But if they are a lot closer to what we saw at North Texas, and this is a team, you guys laughed when I used the phrase "dead cat bounce," but was North Texas a dead cat bounce? We're going to find out. They're coming off a bye week. They've had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. They're going to be at home. Everything points to getting the best possible game from Houston. They've just got to go out there and prove it, and I think they do. I like Houston plus 7.5 at this one. You give me a touchdown at home, I like that. I'm taking the Cougs. I like Houston plus 7.5. What's next, Ashley?
Let's see. Up next, we have the correct Baylor logo there for you. Texas Tech heading to Waco to take on Baylor. 3 p.m. Saturday. Baylor favored by 11 at home.
It's the Butt Bowl.
Why is that?
Because BU versus TT. It's the Butt Bowl. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about Baylor. Because Baylor is a team that the numbers can't figure out. They can't figure. They don't agree. Bill Connolly's SP Plus does not like Baylor very much. It thinks that they are kind of like the efficiency is not quite where they would like it to be. They think that they're more of a product of a bad schedule, et cetera, all that fun stuff. That's Bill Connolly. If you go talk to Brian Fremeau with his FEI ratings, they love Baylor, and they think, man, this team is legit, and they are able to put things. They're going to be able to go out there and really light it up. The issue for me in this one is Tech on the road. And I really and truly believe that Tech on the road is a different team than Tech in Lubbock. This is a homecoming for Baylor. The one thing that Tech is going to need is, again, a super efficient and effective game from Jed Duffy. That is the great equalizer in this one. If they get a huge game from them, because let's be honest, maybe the defense comes up big again, but I don't think you can count on it. If that's the case, then they're going to need to score. And this has been a Baylor defense that's been pretty stingy all year long, especially they don't give up the big play. This is, to me, a huge test for Jet Duffy. It would be great if they could run the ball, but Tech has been okay running the ball. Actually, they're 34th in the nation in yards per rush, but they are. This is a statistical combination that drives me nuts. Tech is 34th in the nation in yards per carry. Pretty good. 4.8 yards per carry. They're 118th in rush play percentage, meaning they run the ball only. They run the ball the 118th most in the nation. I think you want to grind it out. Got to cut a couple turnovers if you're Tech. Keep this thing close. The other thing for me that I'm interested in, both of these quarterbacks are very well protected all year long. Can they continue that? It's going to be very interesting. I think this is a super intriguing game. I'm basically going. I think 11's the perfect line because I think this game is either like a 10-point game or a 14-point game, and the question is, which one do you think it is? I'm going to give Baylor the home field bounce. I'm going to give them. I'm going to take Baylor minus 11 in this one. It would not surprise me if Tech kept this thing close. It would actually not surprise me if Tech won this game.
I was just going to say, you've got to think, too, if you look at last week beating Oklahoma State and then you look at this week going down to Baylor, that's when we start going, ooh, what do we know about Tech?
If Tech, I mean, maybe something clicked, and maybe Oklahoma State wasn't a one-week thing. Maybe this is the new Tech. If this is the new Tech, then there's no reason they can't go on the road and win.
No,
if they play like they did against Oklahoma State, they can go to Baylor and win. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give Baylor the benefit of the doubt here. I'm going to go Baylor minus 11. I'm not very confident in that, though. I'll be honest. So stay away would be my official advice. But I got to pick. That's the name of the segment. Free money. So, what's next?
Up next, we've got Conference USA matchup between UAB at UTSA, 5 p.m. on Saturday. UAB favored at 12.5 on the road.
Yeah. So, which is weird because here's the thing about UAB is that they're not super good. Now, part of it is that UTSA is not very good.
No.
But, they're 4-1, but their wins are over Alabama State, okay, by 5, by the way, at home, FCS team. At Akron literally might be, they're challenging for worst program or worst team in the state, or in the nation, rather. South Alabama and Rice. That's who UAB's beaten. And the one team they played that I think is worth a darn is Western Kentucky, and they lost. Now, they've been able to keep things close, but the other thing is that they're going on the road. And on the road, they have played considerably worse than they have at home. Mm-hmm. UAB is a team that doesn't score very much, but they are a team that has a pretty salty defense. And that gives me a little bit of pause because you're talking about a UTSA offense that, plain and simple, is BAD bad. They are BAD bad. They're a team that runs the ball okay, but the offense, the passing game without Frank Harris is just a non-starter. And that's what I worry about in this one. Is are they going to be able to find any sort of last week it was Lowell Narcisse, and he was fine in their win over UTEP, but it was a win over UTEP. Mm-hmm. UAB is better, and they've got a better defense.
UAB also, after watching them for a couple of years, they are so well. Bill Clark was the Conference USA Coach of the Year in his first year there, but I mean, they don't make dumb mistakes. They're a very well disciplined team, which helps them so much in Conference USA. The other thing
about UAB is that when UAB does throw the ball, and they don't throw the ball much, but when they do throw the ball, they hit big plays. Tyler Johnson, their quarterback, has been really good at hitting big plays. Now, he will get loose with the ball. He's thrown 8 interceptions already this year, which is super high interception rate. In fact, where are they in INT rate? Yeah, they are second to last in interception rate. But here's the problem. Do you know how many passes UTSA has picked off this year? That would be a grand total of, let me make sure I got this right, 1. They've picked off 1 pass this year.
So
probably time to fix that. I'm going to go with UAB. Even at home, I just worry that offense is going to stall out. And I worry they're not going to score more than 14 points. And as good as I think the UTSA defense has been and is trending in a good way, I'm just not sure you can expect them to do that. So unless they get a big defensive play or they figure something out offensively, I just don't think that this is a good matchup for them. I'm going to take UAB minus 12.5. I'm taking a lot of favorites. I don't feel good about that. Finally,
everyone's favorite, North Texas Mean Green at Southern Miss, 6 p.m. on Saturday. Southern Miss has the home advantage at 3.
So you just come to question basically I mean, the real question here is, what is North Texas? Like, who is North Texas?
And I don't think they know.
I don't know if they know either. And that's one of the things that concerns me in this game.
Yeah.
Southern Miss is not a great team.
Mm-mm.
Southern Miss is a super average, run-of-the-mill Conference USA team. And the thing for me, I mean, right now they're 3-2 on the year, and they deserve to be 3-2. Every good team they've played, they've lost to, and every bad team they've played, they've won. That's basically the name of the game for them. They are a team that their defense is not particularly great, and it's not particularly great against the pass, and that is going to be where this has to go. And normally I would say huge advantage for North Texas. But North Texas, that passing attack, because basically they're having trouble keeping Mason Fine clean, and it doesn't come in sacks, but it comes in hurries. Mm-hmm. That is the one thing Southern Miss does really well, is they do get after the quarterback. They're 21st in the nation in sack rate. They get after the quarterback. But everything else about their pass defense is bad. Okay? Everything else. This should be a game that North Texas goes out there and they impose their will because they're just a better matchup in this game. Should be. But every should be this year for North Texas has been disappointing. Mm-hmm. I'm going to put my hand on the stove one more time, and I'm going to take North Texas in the points. I'm going to take North Texas +3. But what I would say is this is an opportunity for North Texas to prove that they're on the good foot. And I got to be honest, if they go out there and they lose this game, I might be selling my North Texas stock at that point. I'm willing to give them a pass. I'm willing to give them a pass that Houston came in ready to play and played their best game. I'm willing to give them that pass. This is where it's got to turn around, though.
I think, too, you've got to hope that for their sake that Coach Luttrell gets the guys to understand that regardless of what the regular season record is so far, in conference they are 1-0. So they have the chance, like you said, to go out and make it 2-0 and really carry that on for the rest of the season. So if they don't do that, then yes, I actually agree with you on this one, which I hate to say.
So those are my free money picks. I like Texas State +3 at home against Louisiana Monroe. Win it outright, Bobs. I like Oklahoma -10.5 against Texas. I like Alabama -17 against A&M. I like Houston +7.5 at home against Cincinnati. I like Baylor -11 at home against Texas Tech. I like UAB -12.5 at UTSA. And I like North Texas +3 at Southern Miss.